So we can yawn our way to relaxation and perhaps enlightenment, and certainly to intuition.
Yeah. Yes.
And it doesn't really mean that we're bored or that we've lost interest,
no.
Correct?
If I am giving a boring lecture, the students are going to yawn in order to stay awake. Every animal does one thing when it wakes up, or three things when it wakes up. The first thing is you'll see a lion yawn and stretch. You'll see birds will do this as well. And then they'll begin to preen. They'll begin to lick themselves. That's self-nurturing.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not do some form of self-nurturing, huge parts of your brain fail to develop properly. And so it's a real problem. And if you've been abused, touch can become a frightening thing to do. And so we teach our clients, I teach my students how to do self-nurturing, how to learn how to become friendly with your body, how to allow your own pleasure to generate your own pleasure rather than expecting it from an outside source. And this is how you move through, and you literally can dismantle old dramatic and traumatic memories through yawning, stretching, relaxing,
the
stroking,
simplest things.
Pleasure. Well, they are simple and they've been ignored, and that's the beauty of neuroscience research. If you look through these tens of thousands of studies, I look for those golden nuggets of saying, oh my God, look, here's something simple that we can all use. Now remember, what motivates us is pleasure. But what's behind pleasure is curiosity. It has to be something new. So we'll always get bored with the thing that we used a few days ago.
We're that intelligent.
To make us happy.
Right.
So I'm always coming up with new strategies that are based in, research, evidence-based studies that are new and different. That's going to stimulate your motivation center. Is going to release dopamine. Your consciousness is going to increase. It automatically shuts down the negative emotional reactions that you tend to have automatically. We're already, just with those few yawns and stretches and self-caring, halfway to solving any problem that faces us.
I love that. I want to just ask you about this program itself. It's called Neuro Wisdom 101, and it is Train Your Brain, Transform Your Life. And it says it's an 8-week program, but really you can take it on at any pace that you want. Yes. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's modules.
And they're brief. Each module is the average length of a lesson, which is a little intellectual information to understand why this weird thing I'm going to ask you to do, like yawning, is beneficial.
Why the neuroscience is behind it, and all the studies go to back it up.
But you must be guided through an experiential sense. If you want to change your brain, if you want to change a habit, if you want to build a new behavior, if you want to become more productive at work, if you want to reduce stress, talking about it doesn't help. I have to explain the exercise, why it works, so that your intellect will say, all right, I'm willing to try that.
Right.
But then that's where we use what's called Bell entrainment, brain-based experiential learning, to guide you through the experience of breathing in, feeling that air coming in through your nostril, moving down your throat, perhaps having your hand on your chest, your hand in your belly, bringing you into an experiential awareness of what's happening in your body first, then in your mental capacity. I teach you how to listen to those worrisome thoughts while you remain in this very deep, relaxed, mindful state of awareness. And as you do so, you can write down on a sheet of paper every worry, fear, and doubt and weakness that you have. This is called the crap board. I have 4 different exercises in here.
I loved that. It's one of the tools that Mark teaches. It's called the crap board, C-R-A-P as in Peter, where you're just getting out of your brain all of the negative thoughts that you have about a particular topic that's
onto a sheet of paper.
Onto a sheet of paper. It has to be onto a sheet of paper, so that instead of a vision board, it's called,
it's a crap board.
It's everything that you don't want to happen, correct?
Well, it's all the things you don't like about yourself.
All
it's
the things
all
you
your
don't like, and you explained to me that the neuroscience behind that is that you're actually bringing a dissociation of the item itself from inside you, and getting pulling yourself away, so that you can then look at it, and once you look at it, it actually loses its impact upon you.
Correct. But you can't, you have to look at it while you're in that deeply relaxed state.
Good point.
Doing that. And the same thing with your vision board. Very essential tool. If you can't visualize your goal and what it'll bring you, the newest research in psychology shows you will fail to reach that particular goal. But you also have to be able to visualize the obstacles. And then you have to visualize your plan for overcoming the obstacle. If the obstacle is too big, just change the item on your vision board. I want to fly right now. I can't do it. Okay, is that realistic? No. So I'll change to, okay, I'm going to have a deeper conversation with you right now. What do I need to do for that?
Right.
Maybe I need to slow down my speech. Maybe I need to use the 10-10 rule to speak briefly for you to hear.
Yes, and that is another tool that you have taught me, which I think is fascinating, and I only wish that everybody in the UN could bring you, Mark, to the UN and teach them this particular.
They use this in the UN.
They do?
Yes.
All right. So
and so does every major motivational speaker. They may be up there on the stage talking about something incredibly exciting, but when they want you to learn something that's incredibly important, the first thing they're going to do, they're going to slow down and they're going to relay the secret in 10 words or less.
Or 10 words or less. So you begin to speak and talk deliberately what you mean. Well, that was 11 words. But the idea being that you slow down and become cognizant of what it is that you want to say so that you say it in a specific way, because your theory neuroscientifically is that
theory, it's a fact at this point.
It's a fact that people will only remember the last 10 words that you have spoken.
The consciousness part of your brain can only hang on to 4 or 10 words for about 20 seconds.
There.
Try it right now. Recall anything that I've said to you or that you said in this during this interview. Precisely.
Very precisely. Well, you just must go back and think about it.
The cool thing about this as a training exercise is pause. You can speak exactly what you need to very briefly, and it trains you to become aware that if you slow down a little bit and you try to contain it, your brain will select the best possible word. And if you remember the fact that you, the listener, can only remember my 10 words, why should I waste speaking to you for 3 minutes if I'm trying to resolve a conflict? We overspeak to our spouses. We certainly overspeak to our kids. If you do the 10-10 game or the 20-20 game with your kid, they'll hold you to the rule. They'll feel included. It'll be an equal conversation. You'll get them to change their behavior as fast. And the reward is that they get you to change your behavior. They feel listened to for the first time. That's the power.
They feel listened to, perhaps for the first time, but they feel listened to. So it would be an interesting experiment right here at the Cafe of Dreams while we're all around the table or at any restaurant around the table having a conversation with your family, with your friends, with your loved ones, to do the 10-word rule and communicate most specifically.
But you have to first be totally deeply relaxed. I do all of my neuro-coaching sessions. I mean, I can solve most people's problems in an hour or less. But we're both in this very deep state of mindful awareness. We're both speaking very briefly. The more relaxed you are, the slower you'll speak and the less words you'll use too. And the thing is that the 10-10 rule you won't find in my previous books, as we discovered this technique after I wrote Words Can Change Your Brain. And the crap board exercises, this is the only place that you're going to find the training for this. And again, you have to be guided through it experientially to truly get it. Otherwise, all of this is just staying in your intellectual awareness right now. And that part of the brain, your intellect, your thoughts, your fantasies, doesn't stimulate the motivation centers of your brain. Slow down, relax, stretch, come into the present moment, and now whatever thoughts you're having, is going to have a profound effect on your entire brain. If they are negative thoughts, you're going to get nauseous. If they're going to be positive thoughts, this dopamine is going to be released, and your body and your brain is pushed to take action towards making that positive thought become a reality.
Excellent. So that's how you're training CEOs, executives, and you're coaching clients, and more people will be, I'm sure, wanting this. This is actually one of the...
and seniors as well.
And seniors as well. I was going to say, you're actually beginning to broaden the scope.
Thanks to you.
Yes. I have a deep interest in bringing the Neurosciences 101 program to the senior community, because I believe that as we all have a larger population, of course, of seniors, and that that particular community could truly learn some of these techniques to slow down, to have more pleasurable memories, as well as a longer life.
You have to slow down the older you get, because the slower you speak, the deeper the comprehension is to the person who's you're listening to or who you're speaking to. And because we always have self-talk going on, if we don't slow down that incessant chatter, the more we age, the more we lose our ability to tune out that chatter. So the crapboard is one way to tune out that chatter. Yawning is another way to tune out that chatter.
So really it's a methodology to not lose your mental recall.
It's an experiential methodology. This is the biggest mistake made with almost every book. I mean, one of the reasons, I'll write books because we have to convey that information in more than 10 words. But books, nonfiction books, people read them for entertainment first, inspiration second, and education third.
Right.
If I made education the -- thing in a book, it becomes a textbook, and we know how often you want to go out and buy a textbook. You just don't do it.
Right. But so, the experiential
learning,
that's the key,
has been overlooked in the educational system, and that's what we're teaching in our executive MBA program at Loyola Marymount University. And the business executives just love this. It's hilarious. We have corporate leaders doing yawning, focusing exercises, 10-10 rule for brainstorming to solve problems in hundreds of corporations across America.
I love it. Well, I want to just say that this is available, and we'll put the information on the board so that you can find how to acquire Neuro Wisdom 101 so that you can have your own experience with training your brain and having the opportunity to have your brain become a place where you have more pleasure, more intuitive thinking. You can achieve your goals more quickly.
To actually experience your awareness in the present moment as it's constantly unfolding and changing. And when you do that, life literally lights up. You can walk down the street with awareness. You'll feel the wind on your face. You'll feel the energy in your body, your heartbeat, your breathing, and it all becomes so exquisitely wonderful that you feel like you've entered a state of bliss.
And that is your dreams coming to fruition, to have the life that you would love.
That is you becoming aware of what reality actually is. So it turns your dreams into reality.
I like that. So Mark, thank you so much for coming again, our second time, to the Cafe of Dreams, and going a little bit more deeply. And again, we will use these yawning techniques and our 10-10, and the more we learn from you, I think the more our lives are going to be filled full of more achievement, less stress, more happiness, and who doesn't want that?
The less hard you work, the greater changes you'll make if you approach any problem from a state of relaxation, non-judgmental awareness.
Thank you so much, Mark. Thanks for being here.